Hello, and welcome to the Designing with Love podcast. I am your host, Jackie Pellegrin, where my goal is to bring you information, tips, and tricks as an instructional designer. Hello, GCU students and alumni. Welcome to episode 22 of the Designing with Love podcast. Today, I have an opportunity to interview two GCU alumni who are getting ready to finish their program here at GCU. I have Charlene and Markeda Johnson with me today. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for taking some time to go over some of the questions and give some insight into students that are going to be where you've been over the past about year or so you've been in this program. So how exciting. So how did you want to do this? Do you want to, Charlene, did you want to start and then Markeda and then we go that way? Does that sound good?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
perfect. So question number one to you, Charlene. When did you earn your master's degree here at GCU? Are you getting ready to finish or have you finished already?
I'm getting ready to. Actually, we'll finish in just a few days on January 29th, 2025.
Great. And then Markeda, you as well, because you've been together in this program.
Yeah, same date, next Wednesday, the 29th.
Yay, that's great. So Charlene, question number two, what aspects of the program did you enjoy the most?
I enjoyed not having to attend weekly lectures. I really like online work because I'm able to work at my own pace. And I actually really enjoyed that I was with the same group of people the entire time. Like working with the cohort was really helpful, I think, because I built relationships with the same people around the entire time.
Great. I love that. How about you, Markeda? What were some of the aspects you enjoyed the most?
Very similar to Charlene's. So I like the opportunity to be able to work at my own pace. Although we do have due dates, it still was the ability to just kind of work, as much or as little as you need to within those deadlines. And again, working with for the most part, the same group of people throughout the program. I also enjoyed that I had a very, very active and present student services counselor, which I know that everyone was not as fortunate, but mine checked in at least once, sometimes twice or three times a month. I mean, he was very, very active in making sure that I didn't need anything or that I had support through the program. And then the final thing that I really enjoyed about it is that being able to, like, Charlene and I kind of leaned on each other in it. So I guess that's part of the whole cohort thing. But in moments where, we were kind of confused about something or needing to just vent about something, there was someone that was going through the same thing that I was going through at the same time I was going through it. So that helped a whole lot. I mean, there was some, Charlene and I have like Charlene, like a 3-hour time difference. And
yes.
For her, sometimes it will be like 9 or 10 o'clock and it's like midnight or 1 a.m. for me. And we are up like venting or trying to help each other through an assignment. So that actually really helped a whole lot. Because there were things that she might have been confused about that I could have helped with, but there was more things that I was confused about that she helped me with a lot. So.
That's great.
There were a lot of times that I was sending messages. I hope you're asleep right now, but when you wake up, can you answer this?
Yeah, that's good. I love that. Yeah, I love that that opportunity that you had to be able to form that bond and go through the program together. That's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Markeda, I like how you mentioned you had your student services counselor that was there for you throughout, because that's one of the things that I think GCU tries to pride itself on, is to make sure that you have that support all throughout your program, not only with your classmates that you can lean on and your instructors, but also your student services counselor. Anytime you need help with anything like that, they can be there for you. And the fact that they checked on you, that's awesome. I mean, I've had something like that in my programs too, that were there and you felt like they were just there right by your side.
Yeah, no, he was so present. And I mean, there would be times where I was like, geez, why is he calling me now? And he literally, when I'd answer the phone, it would be just like, hey, Markeda, I'm just checking up, making sure, you don't need anything. How are the assignments going? And I was like, wow, this is kind of odd, because I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
So it was so comforting because I'm not going to lie, the program towards like midway through and towards the end, it kind of got a lot of like, kind of got assignment heavy, if that makes sense, where
Yeah,
the
it does.
assignments got kind of lengthy. So it was nice for him to check in and say, hey, how are the assignments? Do you need any support? How can I help you find resources? Just random things, so I appreciated that.
That's good. Hopefully you'll both get if you haven't already, hopefully you'll get the end of program survey, because the university does look at those, and also the leadership within each college looks at those. So they do take those to heart. So if there's...
Well, I want to mention his name is Ulysses Bizarra. He is fantastic. If anybody from GCU is listening to this, I just want to give my SSC a shout out because he's been great.
Oh, that's cool. Neat.
Yes.
I love that. Cool.
I did not have the same experience with mine, unfortunately.
So when you do get that, it's gold.
I'm sure we know that.
Yeah, that's great. So on to question 3. For Charlene, what kind of work do you currently do right now?
I am currently an elementary school teacher. I teach 6th grade, and I've been teaching collectively for over 10 years, but 7 of them have been in the States and 3 of them have been abroad.
Oh, wow. It's exciting. So you had a chance to kind of learn some different cultures and everything too, in that process. Yeah. Great. So since you're currently not in, like an instructional design or similar role, are you currently looking for work in that area? And if so, how's the process going?
I am not currently. I want to stay in the classroom for a little while longer, but I do eventually want to move into the field of instructional design. I really want to move into where I am creating the training materials for teachers. I actually have like a sister-in-law who works in our county educational offices, and she does that. She creates and does the trainings for teachers throughout the county, and that's what I want to work into.
Oh, that's cool.
Or move into working into. Yeah.
Yeah. That's neat. And there's so many opportunities for that. So that's good. Where you can maybe work at, the school level, or you can work at the district level or something like that, and maybe move from school to school and do that. That would be cool too. And I've heard of opportunities like that. That's great. How about you, Markeda? What kind of work do you currently do right now?
So I am also in elementary. I am the special education specialist at our school. And so I do still provide instruction for special education students, but I also work very closely with the gen ed teachers and addressing some of the deficits that our special education students have, like making sure that we're providing them with the right accommodations, or if there's modifications that need to happen for this student. I kind of serve as like the go-between between the LEA and the gen ed teacher per se. Like before they get to the IEP meeting, I'm kind of the one that looks over all the IEPs, making sure that everything that needs to be addressed is addressed. And I primarily serve in elementary school, serve our kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade.
Oh, so you serve the little ones.
Yeah, the little babies. And this is actually this is my 17th year in education, and majority of that has been spent in high school. So being in elementary is a bit of a shift change for me, but I believe that I like elementary a lot better than I do high school.
Hello, I have some exciting news to share with all of my listeners. There is a feature called Fan Mail. What this allows you to do is send me a text message anytime during the episode. There's a link located at the top of the description in each episode, and it says send Jackie a text message. So when you click on that link, you'll be able to send me a message letting me know what you thought about the episode, and if you have any ideas for future episode content as well. I look forward to seeing your text messages. Thank you. That's cool. After all that time, you were able to make that change, and you seem that you like it.
And I think that I'm able to, I figured out that I like it more because I have a child that age, and I'm realizing I work primarily with reading and literacy. So I'm realizing just how important those those foundational literacy skills are with my own child. And I think that's why I kind of have leaned more into liking elementary a lot more.
That's cool. Great.
Yeah.
And then kind of that follow-up, are you looking for work in the field as an instructional designer or kind of similar role, or are you kind of waiting? And if you're looking, is it going well?
Yes and no. So I kind of have been, I even talked to Charlene about this a couple weeks ago. I was like, girl, do you know that a lot of the things that we have been learning, like people are really looking for this skill set in job? Because I had kind of, revamped my resume, kind of just put it out there on LinkedIn to just kind of see what kind of jobs I could get with this type of degree. So I am open to other opportunities. I do believe that this is going to be my last year in a classroom. I am ready to kind of move beyond that and go into this field, whether it be like in the school district that I work in. A person that holds this degree can also be a curriculum coach, a learning specialist, an educational consultant, all those things school-based. Yeah. So while I do still want to serve in education, I think that my time in the classroom has come to an end. So I am looking for opportunities in this field, but still in education.
Yeah. And like a support role.
Yeah. And so because I'm not necessarily actively sending out resumes or applications and things, I can't say it's necessarily going well or not because I haven't gone that far. But I just want to kind of just get a feel for what I could do with this degree. And I mean, it looks like the field is just so open. There's so many things, there's so many careers that you can have with this degree. Outside of just being an instructional designer. Like you said, serving in that support role also. So I think that's where I want to go with it first. Just kind of supporting teachers fully. And then I might kind of broaden it out a little bit and try, some instructional design things, maybe at a corporate level.
That might be cool. Yeah. And there's also opportunities for freelancing. It's been funny because I thought freelancing kind of went by the wayside, but it's actually taken off quite a bit because of the technology like AI and things like that. So there's opportunities out there, like there's Fiverr, there's Upwork, all those. And so a lot of instructional designers and curriculum developers are discovering that because then they get to, maybe even if they just do it part-time, they get to have a little bit of that extra income coming in like a side gig. And so it's really cool to have that too. So there's definitely a lot of opportunities out there for
I
industry.
follow, and you were the one that put me on to him, Devlin Peck.
Oh, yes.
He's phenomenal. Awesome. So he just recently, I feel like it was right around the new year, maybe like January, like 3rd or 4th, he released an article on his own website, the 18 highest paying jobs in education that you can do with an instructional design degree. And when I started like typing those job titles in on LinkedIn and like Glassdoor, first of all, the salaries are phenomenal.
Yes.
But it just opened my eyes to how broad this field really is with this type of degree.
Absolutely. And, and I've talked to some people that work in the field, but not necessarily in education. I have one colleague that I used to work with at a university. He was the trainer. I was the instructional designer in the employee training and development department. And then we both moved on, went to different places, but we've kept in touch and we're friends. But he's worked for Fortune 500 companies. And and it's amazing because he said that the time that you spend in corporate, you can get the skill set, move on, go to another one. So he's worked for like Intel, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Now he's working for Apple. But he said it's amazing because I had a conversation with him and he said, education's great, but you get paid better in corporate. And I'm like, that's true. Yeah. But corporate, you don't get to stay as long because he said you accomplish what they want you to do in corporate. And then it's like, you move on. So I'm like, that's the only thing I don't like is, having to jump
security.
Yeah. And having to start over somewhere. And I'm like, yeah, I see what you mean. He's like, you could make this much money. And I'm like, I know, but I just don't want to jump ship every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Go somewhere else. Yeah. So you have to kind of think of, not just the the income, but where you're going to be comfortable. And so that's good that you're both thinking not just right now, but you're thinking long term. So that's important.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So for question number 4, so for you, Charlene, are there any specific areas in which you're expanding your knowledge and skills in the field? Because we know the degree is not the end all be all, right? You're going to expand beyond that. So are there any areas like say AI technology or something like that where you feel like you're really trying to expand and get more knowledge in those areas?
Kind of, not really, but it actually trying to just learn a lot more about the brain-based learning aspects that we've been studying in this course, and then also the multimedia design, because kind of actually going back to what you were talking about with just random opportunities with coming up for what did you say? Sorry, my brain is fried
Well, it's
because
okay
we're
with
almost done.
with the freelancing.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I've been in a couple of different professional developments, and the um, both of the instructors have made offhand comments of being "Oh, I need somebody to design this paper for me or something." They've made comments like this, and in my head, I'm "Oh, that I could design something like that very easily for you." And so, being able to work more in the infographics and making those things for people. So I want to build my skills in making those things.
Yeah, doing
Hmm.
educational content and assets,
Yeah.
things like that. So you could serve kind of as you could do a contract type,
Yes,
on
because
demand type of thing, maybe.
yeah, we had an ELD training, English language development, and the woman who was doing it, she had teachers asking questions about certain how we were supposed to do certain things, and she's like, "Yes, it's on the website," and yeah, I can get back to you on that. I can email you, and she's like, I need to get this all on one page for you." As she was
Yeah.
saying that, she's like, "I need to over the summer, I'll find somebody who can do that for me." And so I was thinking, I was like, yeah, that's pretty easy to design infographic. That's what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I want to do.
That is awesome. I love that. How about you, Marketa? What kind of things are you kind of expanding your knowledge and skills?
So I learned early on in this program that the learning theories was one of the things that I knew that I was going to just love. And so I have found myself, even outside of this program, just researching the different learning theories, especially behaviorism, given that I am working with special education students, and a lot of these students have very, very challenging behavior issues, or they've got some significant deficits, and working and learning about the classical conditioning, and just those that has really become a thing for me. But outside of that, I really have taken an interest in the virtual reality, augmented reality, and then the chat bots. I use Chat GPT for everything.
Yeah.
And so I just have taken a real interest in just learning that program. Now, I don't necessarily know if I could go into something like that with an instructional design degree, or if that's something that I'd have to kind of go into, some type of technology degree or something like that. But I've taken a real interest in these chat bots. And I'm every time I use Chat GPT, and I'm I feel like I'm talking to a real person, I'm having an actual conversation. How is this happening? So I want to try to figure out on the other side of the person that's creating these things, how are they doing it, where I'm feeling like I'm speaking directly to somebody,
Yeah, it's amazing.
So yeah, I've taken a
Algorithms.
real interest in those. And the gamification and all that was always, and micro learning was always something that I liked anyway. So I just kind of feel like I've gotten my head just in so many different places, but really that whole chatbot thing has just taken me by storm. So I'm always looking at different professional developments and all that I can try to learn more about those things.
Yeah, that's essential because we know that AI is not going anywhere. And I actually use it every day in my job as an instructional designer. So we have in our company, we have our own proprietary AI AI tool, and so it's pretty cool. And so the company I work for is an educational services company, so we support higher education and also K through 12. So it's pretty cool because then we're not using something like ChatGPT where there's that risk of proprietary information going out. But it's really neat because you kind of do get to see the inside workings of it, and we're creating different things like like different models, and it's so cool because it's like, wow, it's really. And then you can see corporations like not so much Captivate, but you see like Storyline, they've, with Articulate, where they've incorporated into Rise 360 with AI. And then you see all the other tools out there where it's like, oh, there's AI in Canva and there's AI in Genially. So it's amazing how you can
That's
see.
So funny that you just said that. I literally was just going to mention that. That's perfect. So I was just going to say, and again, Charlene and I talk all the time, and we just had said, Charlene, you can remember this. I said every single thing that I feel like I've learned for real in this program came from you and your coworker. You told us about Ryan, who are both actually in this field. So it makes sense that we learn the most from somebody that's actively in this field now. And Ryan is the one that introduced us to storyboarding. And when he introduced us to it, and then you kind of followed up with the next course that we had with you with the storyboarding. And then that's how I learned how to use the Articulate and what was it? I think it was Storyline 360 or something like that. That I use. So that's perfect that you even mentioned that, because I was going to mention those programs that I actually think are phenomenal. Genially is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I'm really glad you
for micro. I
that.
love Genially.
I do too. Yeah, it's really cool. And, it's interesting because some of my students, they complain about the price of some of the software like Captivate and Storyline and stuff. And I'm like, I know the price point is really, it's hard, when you're trying to budget, and, it's enough money just to go to school and then to have to worry about extra software that you have to pay for on your own. So what's nice about, Genially is that they have course templates now where you can create a self-directed course. And then with the EDU, you can do a free version, or you can do EDU Pro, which is like their next level, their first level of paid. And it comes out to $60 a year. And I'm like, I was blown away by that.
It's like a month of Captivate.
It is, yeah. And because I had Articulate with the 360 and Storyline for 2 years, and the return on investment was enough for me to keep it. So I was like, I've got to look for something else. So I was going to do Captivate, and I'm like, that's still, at the end of the day, it's still, it's not as expensive, but it's still, it's a hefty price tag. So when I found that they were doing that, I was like, oh, wow, this is awesome. I'm going to do this instead. So yeah, when you find those little treasure troves, you're like, oh my goodness, I got to pass this on to other people. So it's great.
Yeah, it was fantastic. You were definitely the one that taught us about that.
Yes, exactly. So when you find those, you gotta pass it on and not keep it to yourself. Definitely. So you both kind of touched on this earlier in the interview, but if you wanted to expand on this a little bit more about the experience of being in the cohort together throughout the program, and is there anything else you wanted to share about that that maybe you didn't mention at the beginning about that experience and how that really helped to maybe get you through, like you said, those tough times, and you helped each other out with that. So is there anything else you wanted to add?
Go ahead, Charlene.
I was going to say, I think it did help a lot, like being with the same people, because I did kind of find that I would reply to the same people in discussions after a while, kind of especially because like kind of get to know their like thinking style and their writing style, um, and then just also building relationships like with certain people, like Marketa is the only one that I actually have an outside relationship with, but like it was still nice to like in class have like certain relationships with people over and over.
Yes.
It wasn't everybody that we stayed together with, but there was a core group of people that we stayed with.
Yeah,
That's
from
cool. How
beginning to
many do
end,
you think you
literally.
had?
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go
I could,
ahead, Mark.
I think there was at least 5 that we always had.
That's good.
Yeah, from that intro to grad studies all the way till now, I'd say that too. Probably about 5 or 6 that I know I
Mhm.
saw in every single class. Like Natasha, we saw her in every single class.
Yeah, and
So yeah,
Saeed.
yeah, it's about
Mm.
5 or 6 that we did not miss a beat.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
cool. And then you had me, 4 times, I think, as
yeah,
your
Yeah,
instructor. And
mhm,
thankfully.
then you had Ryan probably a couple times. So,
yeah,
having, similar instructors. And then that was nice for me because then I was like, oh, I get to have, 10 out of the 13 are people I've had before. And you get to know each other's style,
Mhm.
not only between classmates, but you get to know each other's style. You get to know the instructors too and their style. So it
Yeah,
helps because
I really liked that.
you're not having to get to know somebody every single time. So that helps as well. But it's good to have, a different experience with different instructors, but then you kind of get to know, okay, these are the ones that, I know their style. I know how they are. And so it makes that
Mhm.
probably less stressful too for you all around.
yeah, for sure.
That's good. Great. And then final question for both of you. I'll start with you, Charlene, first. So what are some tips and advice you can share with those that are currently in the program that are maybe just starting or, something like that you can offer to them?
My biggest tip is to make sure that you take time for yourself. Make like self-care days. Make sure you pick a day of the week where you don't do any work because it is a very long process and there's not very many breaks. And if you don't prioritize giving yourself a break, you're gonna burn out, and it's very important that you make sure that yes, you are learning and you need to keep on top of yourself, but at the same time, you need to give yourself a break.
That's good. Yeah. Kind of like giving yourself that grace, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's good. How about
Like
you, Marketa? Oh, go ahead, Charlene. Yeah.
I was gonna say Thursdays. Thursdays was my break. Wednesday, I turned my assignment in, and I did not log in on Thursdays.
That's good. I kind of did the same thing. I do the same thing as an instructor. It's like, I do participation grading, but then I kind of take a little bit of a break. So yeah, I like those too. It's important to have that time off. Absolutely.
Mhm. For me, I would say very similar to what Charlene said. I mean, I know there was a few times where we told each other, like, "Girl, forget that work for today. Take a break,"
Yeah.
because it can get overwhelming. And I'm just looking at right now, looking at our schedule that we had when we first took Ryan, and I had a love-hate relationship with Ryan. Let me just say that he was a fantastic instructor, but it was his class that I knew that, okay, we are now in the thick of it. Charlene, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like we had 8 or 9 assignments in that class.
Oh, there were so many. I can't even
It
I
was
remember.
so
think
many.
It's like
And
started, there was
I
like
think I know
2
which
for the first
one.
like 3 or 4 weeks. So
it
there
was
was a
that
lot.
multimedia for
Yep.
learning
I
Yeah.
was
thing.
gonna say I know what class that is because I've
Yes.
taught it like 4 or 5 times and it's brutal.
Yeah.
And it was a great class, but it was that class that showed me, okay, we are in the thick of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying this jokingly, it was downhill after that. After that, it was like, oh my gosh, I am so stressed. So it's important to manage your time well. One being take some time for yourself again so that you don't get burnt out, but don't wait until the last minute to address the things that need to be addressed in that week. We have the Monday that the first discussion is, the Saturday, and then the Monday that discussions are due. But that particular assignment, don't wait until the last minute to do it, because you'll find that some of them have
Yeah.
so many working parts, you can't complete it without, having it be late because you waited until the last minute. So managing the time well was, for me, a game changer. I am a person, this might be too much information, but I suffer greatly from ADHD. It's horrible. So I had to manage my time well, or I would have just lost it. And the other thing is, we have been so fortunate enough to have built a relationship with you, Jackie. I think
Yeah.
creating that relationship with your instructors is so important because I think
Mhm.
on one side of it, yeah, you're the instructor, but I think on the other side, I think you really understand what we're experiencing with
Yes.
this program and how it is trying to just juggle it all, juggling work, as working professionals and adults, juggling work and now trying to juggle these assignments. Building that relationship helped a lot. We were able to reach out to you even when we didn't have you as an instructor to say, hey, can you give us some advice with this? I mean, there were many times where Jackie, Charlene and I were like, I'm going to text Jackie.
Yeah, ask her.
Yeah, it was like,
we didn't
okay,
even
I'd
have
ask
you.
Markeda and she wouldn't know, so I was like, I'm going to text Jackie.
Yeah.
And so half the time you weren't even our instructor. And so I think that's because we were able to build a relationship, there where we could, lean on an instructor for some support in this program. So that helped tremendously for me and for Charlene. And I'm not sure if the other people in the cohort, if they managed to build some relationships, but I'm sure they probably would echo the same thing. It's just, being able to just reach out to somebody like, hey, I'm on life support. Can you throw me some type of life raft or something? I need some help, so that's truly the only way that I think I made it through this thing,
Yeah, because you don't want to feel like you're on an island by yourself. That's the worst feeling.
Right. You're on
You
an
have to
island.
have somebody in the group with you.
Yeah. It's important. And and I'm not even sure what class it was that Charlene and I started kind of, bonding together with each other. I don't even know what class
I
it was.
started to try and find someone like right away. So it was one of the early classes.
Well, I think
'Cause
it
I was
might have been
posting
that
like second
educational
or third.
research. Y- Yeah.
Yeah. I was like second or third class. I was posting, does anybody want to make a study group? Like,
Right.
and
That's exactly right. That's how that
yeah.
happened, Charlene. And so I think once I realized, like, okay, I got somebody here that's looking for the same thing that I'm looking for. Let me kind of band up with her and we just gonna ride this thing out together.
Yeah.
That is
Thankfully, it worked
literally
out.
what we did.
You did. It worked
That's
out good that
literally
you
what we
were
did.
in the program together and just went
Hmm.
along together with it. So that's
There
great.
was only one time where we are almost not in a class together, and then I think Mercator, you switched classes, right? I think
Yeah.
you changed your
So
schedule.
I
Hmm.
was going to, because I was getting ready to drop the class that I was in because I was having such a hard time with just connecting with the instructor. And so I was like, you know what? I cannot do this. I'm dropping it. And then I was like, wait, but then I'm not going to be in the class of Charlene. And
Oh no.
I need to be in the class of Charlene because I need to be able to work with her. So yeah, I was like, no, I reached out to my SSC so quick and I was like, I'm gonna need you to change me back because I have to be in the class with this girl that I'm friends with because we gotta work together. Like it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. Like I felt like I was having a complete meltdown when I realized that if I'm changing this, I can't be in the class with Charlene anymore. I'm not gonna make it. So yeah, it just I'm laughing about it now, but in the moment that I literally was about to have a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, you're gonna have like a panic attack.
Yeah, it gets that serious, because we
Yeah.
took it. I think that she and I and other people too, I know, took the program so seriously because it's like, listen, this is not a cheap program. And
Right.
I am a working adult, many of us with children. And if I'm going to be in this program and it's going to be taking up my time, I got to be serious about it. So I
Hmm.
was very, very intentional about completing these assignments and making sure that I wasn't like halfway doing it. And so, it was important to me to make sure that, I connected with somebody who was just as serious about the program as I was. Now, towards the end, we both are like, oh gosh, we're beat. We're just done. But it has been it's been fun working with Charlene. It's been a stressful journey in the program, but it's been nice to have somebody that kind of walk the course with you, so.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
It kind of gives you insight into what maybe the industry is like because, it's interesting because in the job I have, there's ebbs and flows to things because it's, like, for example, the curriculum developers in my department, they work on a quarter system. So they get so many courses per quarter that they work on. So they have a steady stream of what they know, pretty much what they're going to get, quarter over quarter, year over year. With instructional designers, since I work at the program level and I'm higher level, it just all depends on what programs are coming through from the university and what whether it's a revision or it's a new program and how we approach that. And each program is different because of the requirements and the needs of it. So it's interesting because in 2023, I didn't have any programs I was working on, but I was heavily working with my curriculum developers on course development. So I was like, okay, I'm still busy, even though I'm not really working on programs. And then last year in 2024, I had a ton of programs, plus all the courses to work on, new courses, revisions. And I'm like, oh my gosh, can I make it this year? I'm like, so Ryan and I are on the same team, and we both work together hand in hand. And so, we're there for each other. So it kind of echoes that, in the program, you were both there for each other, but in the workplace, it's like that. It can be like that too, where you're like, okay, I know this person is either similar to me in personality, or I know that maybe this person can help calm me down when I'm ready to freak out and can be there for me. So you're modeling that how that can be in a work environment too, because, it's just, it's sink or swim, and you're like, okay, I got to be able to swim here and keep myself going. So I got to have somebody or a group of people that I can, hang out with and and do that with. And so that's cool. That kind of models that. So
I think most people need somebody. There's very few people in the world who can get by themselves.
Yeah.
Like everybody needs somebody sometimes.
True.
Oh yeah,
that's
absolutely.
True.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, when we started the program, when I first got past that intro to grad studies, I was like, did I make the right choice? But I still was doing it by myself. And I was like, am I really going to be able to do this? I was so stressed. And so when I saw Charlene put that thing up about a study group, I was like, yes, girl, whatever we need to do, I'm on board for that. So it helps a lot to just have somebody, even if I think it might have been once or twice where I was texting her and it wasn't even anything to do with the program, so you just need somebody sometimes, so
that's great. Yeah, that's wonderful, because when I was in my master's program, I didn't have that. So one thing I thought, if I ever teach these courses like this, if I ever become a college instructor, then I want to make sure I give students the experience that I didn't have. So I did. I made a list of all the things that I didn't have, and then kind of surveyed, different students. I'm like, what would you like to have? And so, and those different things would come up. And so it helped, I think, with my teaching as well, because then I'm like, oh, I'm providing them with something. And not that you can replicate that experience of being on campus, but I try to at least give them a little bit of that, and make it interactive as much as possible. So it's like what you would do with your students every day. You want to give them the best experience and prepare them for their next journey, not just academically, but in life too. So it helps. Right. Yeah. So that's awesome.
I wanted to add too, Jackie, when they put out those end of course surveys, I'm sure that, the university takes those into consideration a lot. I've done one for every course, but I have found that a lot of the material that we have in the program, some of it might be, a little outdated. I think when people do those surveys, hopefully they look at those and take into consideration that some of the things need to be updated. So I just wanted to add a tip is to make sure you do those end of the course surveys so they can get some real feedback from actual people taking these programs, and kind of try to update the course materials to where we are now 2025, so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's important to, have materials that are within a certain time frame. So that's something I've done too. And, thankfully they're going to be making some changes to the courses. So I'm excited about that. I'm like, yes, I'm so glad.
Because there was one class, I think it was one of the ones that you were instructing, that quite a few of the links were broken.
I remember that.
And couldn't find the articles, and it was crazy. I can't remember which one that was, but
and I had to end up sending in a case, and I think there were you're right, I think there were 3. So I sent in the case, and they've I gave them some alternate ones to replace with, and
I remember that too. And even just the suggestion of, again, with that multimedia class, I truly felt like it should have been broken up into 2 parts. That class, although it was phenomenal in what I gained from it, doing that course in 6 weeks was so challenging.
I think it would have been beneficial as well.
I've given that feedback to the college too. Yeah, that it should be broken up into 2, because when I was in my program, we got two separate classes. So we had a foundation and then advanced. So that was really nice to have that. So
yeah. And I think had it been that way, I might have gained a little more from it than I gained from it. But towards the later half of the class, it became more of a, okay, oh my gosh, I have to get this done. I have to get this done, where I couldn't really take in what I probably could have taken in had it been split up in two. And I'm only saying that because I think that's the course too that we started our portfolio in.
yes.
A lot of my portfolio came from that class.
A lot of it. Exactly. I was just looking at my portfolio today, and a great deal of it came from that multimedia class, where, we revised images and, just created so much of it. And so I noted that when I did the in the course survey for that course, that it would be great if it could be broken up into two parts so that the student can get from it what they really need to get from it, given the kind of class that it is.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah, great.
Oh, I just thought of another piece of advice.
Sure.
I don't know what kind of student a lot of people are, but I'm the type that has to write everything down. Like I take handwritten notes and everything. And I write all my assignments before I type them up. I'm weird, I know. But I also I write down when I'm reading, I put the citation so that I have the articles or I have it all written down for when I go back, because I use the resources from other classes all the time for my later classes. And you don't have access to your previous classes once they're done. And if you want to go back and use any of those resources, you have to save them.
True.
That's true.
So, if you find something you're like, this is really useful information and I want to use this later, bookmark the article or write it down or do something, save it, so that you have it later, because you're not going to be able to go back to that course and be like, I want to find that article that I used here or this link for there. Because I know the first couple of classes I didn't do that. And I'd be like, man, I'm looking through my notes and this is a really great piece of information that I could use for this piece of homework that I'm working on right now, but I have no idea where I got it. So,
oh no, yeah,
that's
true.
It's
a good idea. So, yeah,
keeping those kind of notes might be helpful.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, one of my students had mentioned to me that she downloads the syllabus and she'll keep it in a folder, and then she'll keep all of her stuff there. So I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. And so, and if you ever need a syllabus, the good thing is that you can always reach out to your student services counselor and they can get it for you too. So all is not lost. So that's good to know. So if you ever, especially for, students that are seeking licensure, and certification and stuff, it's really helpful because then they have to submit their application to the state. And a lot of times the state will want to see all the syllabi to make sure that they've met the content areas and stuff. So, yeah. So if you ever need it down the road, you can always reach out, even as, alumni, you're coming up. So yeah, you can always reach out.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So you learn something new every day. I've learned, I learn a lot from both of you. So it's great. Great. Well, any last minute things before we wrap up or anything that you wanted to share?
Not necessarily. I just really want to thank you for being available for us all the time. I mean, there was sometimes like, oh my gosh, I hope she's not going to be mad at us for texting her, and we're not even in her class right now. So I really just appreciate you being so available and just willing to support us. Even I think at one point gave us access to one of the websites that you had created for one of the courses. It just was just so helpful to just have you and your support throughout this program. So I'm really, really appreciative of that. So just wanted to just tell you thank you for that.
You're welcome. Yeah, and I'll pass along with Ryan that he was also helpful too. So
yes, he was. He was. Like I said, I had a love-hate relationship with it, not with him personally, but with the course. But he was phenomenal. He always answered the questions and had even, I believe, given us his cell phone number at one point. So I was even texting him too. And, he did the best that he could to help us. But he was a really thorough, really good guy. So it wasn't him. It was the course.
Yeah. You do it's tough because you do the best you can as an instructor and then you try to support the student. So you know how that goes sometimes.
Yeah. So just let him know. I mean, we are also very appreciative of him and, all that he was able to give us in his course as well.
Great. Well, thank you, ladies, for your time as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing where you go in your journey beyond this program. So the sky's the limit, as they say, right? Reach for the
Yes,
stars.
Yes.
absolutely. Absolutely. I
Thank
can't
you.
believe that we are literally almost done with this thing. Oh my
Oh,
gosh. It's
so
so
close.
surreal.
Great. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All
Anytime.
righty. Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Thank you for taking some time to listen to this podcast episode today. Please take a moment to like the episode and share it with others so they can learn about this topic as well. Have a great day.